Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back. Today we are doing a book review for A Prophecy in Ash, which is the sequel to A Curse in Ash by Julie Zantopoulos. So if you have not read this and you're kind of interested or want to know more about it, I did do a review for it back when, and quality is hopefully this video's quality is a little bit better than that one. Don't judge me for it. So if you would like to continue on to this one though, we will talk about A Prophecy in Ash now. Hopefully you have either read A Curse in Ash or have at least seen my review video or somebody else's maybe, to know that this one is still going to be following Ashlyn and Riordan, the characters we met in the first book, as well as now we are also following Bryarch's perspective. We'll call him Braggs. I'm going to say his name wrong possibly. In this world, as before, you know, we have fairy and human world, and we are separated by a magical veil. The higher up fae can come through the veil without having to pass through the human checkpoints, as pretty much those checkpoints have nothing to do in this book this time, because we are dealing, Bry is high fae, he's a prince of fae, and Ashlyn is strong on her own stance, of course, so they just go back and forth whenever they want. But now having this new perspective does give a slightly different outlook to things. So we see through his eyes of how, you know, a fae who grew up there and is not normal to the human world and different things here, how maybe he looks at things from a different perspective as the other two. And how it changes relationships and stuff. Because Bry is Ashlyn's fiance, as we found out in the other book. They've been engaged since, you know, arrangement while she was little. And he has had feelings for her forever as he's seen her grow up into this confident woman, powerful uber witch. He's just head over heels for her. And you start to see how her feelings for him develop more through the book, and how Bry and Riordan's relationship changes in, you know, accordance with how they're all connected. And it's just sweet and spicy sometimes, but sweet at others, like the feels. There's like true emotional feels. How they support each other too through the trauma of what happened in book one, as they're all dealing with the fallout from the curse and what happened to their families. The emotional support system of the book is very well done. How the plot goes in this book is a bit different than what I would have been expecting after reading the first one, because there is, of course, the overarching thing with the curse and the fallout from it and why it happened and who's behind it. I expected that to be more into this book of like solving those things, but it wasn't so much. Was it in this book? Yes. Were they investigating it or had friends, people helping investigate that parts of it? Yes. But there's two big plot things kind of in this book that takes place the first half of the book and then the second half of the book. And the first half happens as, you know, they are house hunting in Fairy, because after the wedding they're told they have to, you know, live in Fairy a bit more, so they have to have a house in Fairy. So the three characters are hopping around Fairy, you know, trying to find a house that suits their tastes and size wise and all of that. And something happens, and it takes up the next half of the book as that is trying to be resolved, and you're finding out what is kind of going on with each character. And their chapters somewhat overlap a little bit, especially from Ashlyn's and the two guys' perspectives. But the timeline also for the two guys' perspectives, as when you switch to the other one, sometimes it'll go back just a little bit, like minutes or hours, as you know what's happening as he sees this and this is happening. This one also though will have more little time hops, like as it goes to this and then like 2 weeks later in the next chapter, or days later, and you get a lot of little time hops in this, which does kind of move it along. It makes everything feel like it's happening closer together, a little bit faster. No big time hops though that I can think of. It works though. It works pretty well with the pacing, though some things I do wish they hadn't, because it's like, well, why? Like from Ashlyn's perspective in that first plot point, and it's like been a week or 2 weeks, I think, and it's like, when she finally gets too close to the end of it and you're like, if you could have done that, why'd you wait this long? But oh well. Oh well. Then though, we get into the second half of the book, which is occupied a lot by getting up to the wedding and the events of the wedding and the prophecy that you were told in the first book and how that might come to play because of Ashlyn and Briar's wedding. And spicy time happens in the second half of the book a lot. More so after the wedding. I think it's only like maybe one occasion before the wedding. But a lot after the wedding. Then the thing that they were kind of like, okay, this could happen because of our wedding. It's not that it was bad that it happened, but it was kind of more forced and rushed, and how it wrapped up the secondary plot line. It left more things open and unresolved, because why would you rush to this? Why would you do this? Ashlyn's character and the way she cares and fights for people, and why would she leave that specific thing open? She just, yes, okay, maybe she was mad about something, but you're not going to try to do this. You of all people should actively be against what is happening there. And instead, we're going to go rush to do this thing, which could unstabilize absolutely everything. And especially after Reardon has a panic attack about how this might affect everything. We're still going to go do it instead of maybe going to save somebody. And at the end of the book, you still don't know what happened to the somebody. So yeah, okay, that's plot without spoilers. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing. But that was one thing though that I did not like very much, is that it was so unresolved. In one of the things from the first book, the big overarching plot still did not move that forward enough to really resolve. I mean, kind of, okay, just vengeful, wanted this, power, whatever, but it doesn't explain why the curse happened exactly, like why they wanted that, what they wanted it for. And then new things now, unanswered, unended openness. So yeah, those are my problems there without spoilers. Did it have a good storyline overall? I would say yes, it was actiony, and we moved it along. We had a good emotional connectionness. Was there problems like in the first book where they were in their head and thinking about their feelings and what this person's feelings possibly were, and now we have a third person to think that through with as well? Or all the thoughts of, I'm so grateful that I am part of this, or they want me and I get to be with them. We could have done with a little less, again. And then maybe more plot could have been resolved, got worked towards. But that's just me, as I don't know, maybe I'm just not a super romance. I keep trying romance, and I mean, it's not awful, but I like more information, plot, generally in my stories, I suppose. That's just the best way to put it. Questions I have without being spoiler again is also, why did one of her friends have to have that? Yeah, there was a little bit sketch at one point, but only a little, and then is like, what? And super sadness. And the other point, what's up with the fox? I feel that the fox is important, and I have an idea as to why now that the ending thing happened, but it just doesn't make sense at the same point in time. I was not super happy with the way the book resolved that last plot point, as I said, but the reveal in the last few pages, what Bri figured out, I like that. That was pretty cool. I think it works very good into the overall magicness history. Yes, I feel like that worked pretty well, and I can't wait to see how that is explored more in book 3. Let's delve into the spoilers, and then we'll go back to the rating and what the book really got right and what I don't think it did as well of that I wanted to see from the first like resolved from the first book. The first plot line is Ashlyn gets kidnapped. And as I said, time hops and everything, so she's there for a few weeks. It is Bry's older brother who's kind of evil. He like beats her up on more than one occasion. She gets mad. She's super powerful, but her magic is dampened there. But like I said earlier about the thing that she gets angry and she kind of breaks herself out some. If you could do that, why didn't you do it sooner? Then the wedding and everything happening up to the wedding, as they feel that the prophecy is, the light in the dark courts joining back as one, and it will bring down the magical veil between human and fae, and everybody will be able to go everywhere. And some people are kind of afraid of that. Some people don't want that. They're even involving the human government in this to be prepared. So they play that up quite bigger here, kind of, but it's only discussed still a few times, and yet it doesn't happen until they make it happen. Like they literally, she's the one that rips the veil down herself. Almost kills herself to do it. But she does it herself, and they decide when it's going to happen, they do it. And I'm like, really? Why don't we prepare people a little bit more? Why? All hell breaks loose, stuff goes to the fan because people are against it, everything. I feel bad for Bry though, because he feels like he failed absolutely everybody while the veil was crashing, because he could not decide. All the people he loved were like in danger, and he couldn't decide which one he was supposed to be protecting. And so he feels like he failed them because he's like, I wasn't protecting you. I promised your safety would be above mine. But he was trying to help so many, and he was seeing everybody he loved in danger and in different places in danger. And he's like, he couldn't, his brain literally could not handle it. And so I feel really bad that he was put into that situation and had to deal with that, because now he feels like he just failed everybody. His twin, his wife, his partner, Reardon, their friends. So that was that. I did not like how they brought the veil down, because it happened really in the last few chapters, and it was a forced thing, and They never resolved a thing about Peggy and the curse and why they're making it happen, and why the Hive are still all connected and getting murdered now. No. We did not focus on that after she was rescued, saved herself, kind of. Nope, we went into relationship town of how we're now going to, all three of us, be in a relationship. We can't be without each other. We're, moving forward with the wedding planning. I do like that we brought back up the prophecy, of course, and like how it did play itself out. But I don't like that it was forced there, and there was too many loose ends with Dexter, and the reasoning for the curse, like they were investigating it, and then they weren't. And then when Princess Corina got captured, but it was the same person who took Ash, and she's like, well, she got herself into that. She shouldn't have betrayed me, and I'm going to go drop the veil now. Seriously, you're not going to go look for your friend, even though you know what he's doing to her? You're like, she got herself into it while at the same time admitting she's just naive? Really? And the book ends without them rescuing Princess Corina or knowing if she's safe, and all hell's breaking loose, and possibly, they're not going to find her now. How do we end with that just wide open like that? I'm not going to give the big reveal at the end, even though it's spoilers. I won't say that. I will hold that in. I will. But she is definitely more powerful, I feel like, at the end of this book than she was earlier on. And things have changed, of course, within her relationships. I did quite enjoy how their relationship changed and how they grew together. And it was just very sweet seeing how Bry and Reardon, worked while she was gone, and admitted to how, they felt about each other more than just, okay, we can both be with her and everything. It's how they really realized that they cared about each other too, that they were a family. I like that. It was nice. it worked. Overall, I feel like the book did get a lot of things right, like the relationship, how that transformed, the emotional support that they were offering each other through bad things and trauma, and how they just knew how to work together. It worked really, really well. I think all of that she did an ace job on. Continuing some of the plot points, that was a bit touch and go depending on what exactly it was. Pacing, excellent. I liked that we got to see more of Fairy. Some of the questions I had from the first book still didn't really get answered. We also got less of her investigation-y stuff. I don't know. Because we spent more time in Fairy, we got less of her in the real world and her actually working, doing her job. The thing from the first book, though, with these sprites, the Olates, that was still not answered. Nobody can say why they're being weird to Reardon, why they're like attacking him sometimes. It came up a few times, and they, gave him weird warnings and sent him into a full-on panic mode. Nobody can figure out why. They now have a guess as to maybe one of the people, pushing them to do it, but not for sure. And it was just, one time it was brought up about, well, this could be the reason they're doing it. And then not said again. Oh well. Now that the whole world has changed, maybe in the next book things will get resolved. Probably not on that front. I don't think it's gonna be a major thing. I would rather have at least the big things answered and resolved, but we will get there. Overall, my rating though for the book was a 3.75 stars. I did enjoy it. I liked where we continued into the story and how things developed and changed. Could we have gotten some more answers? Yeah, probably could have gotten it, but it's fine for now, I suppose. I think that both of these books though are a fun read. Possibly we got more spicy in this one though, so if that's what you're into, maybe pick up this series, read both of them. There is still one more book to go. It's going to be a trilogy, and now is definitely one of the good times to get into it, to figure out what's going on. Hopefully you've been encouraged to try this series or this book if you were on the fence or hadn't even heard of it. Maybe you think it'll sound awesome now. And if you like this video, I do have other review videos, unboxings, vlogs. They're not going great. I haven't done it in a minute. And just general bookish content. If you like what you see, consider subscribing and joining me for future videos. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you're finding something awesome to read this weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!